Welcome to Silent Stories Updates, where real-life emotions meet powerful storytelling. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's story, one that starts with peace, turns to chaos, and ends with a lesson about standing your ground when no one else will. It all began on a quiet Sunday morning, the kind where the lake looks like glass and the only sounds are birds in the trees, and the soft flick of a fishing line touching the water. I was sitting on my dock, my favorite place in the world, just enjoying the calm when I heard it, the sharp squeal of tires, the slam of car doors, and the laughter of strangers. Within minutes, my peaceful morning was gone. I turned around, and there she was, Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA, marching down the gravel path like she owned the place. Behind her was a caravan of SUVs filled with people I'd never seen before, carrying coolers, beach chairs, and even a speaker blaring music. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe they were lost, maybe Karen was just showing off the view. But as they walked right onto my dock and started unloading their gear, it hit me, she was doing it again. You see, this wasn't just any lake. This lake was part of my property. I'd bought it years ago, spent countless hours clearing weeds, building a dock, and stocking it with bass. It was my pride and joy, my escape from the world. But Karen didn't care about any of that. To her, everything beautiful should belong to everyone, or, more accurately, to her and her guests. I stood up and called out, "Hey, you can't be here. This is private property." Karen turned to me, wearing oversized sunglasses and a smug smile. "Oh, don't be ridiculous," she said. "It's community property. The HOA bylaws say all shared spaces are for residents' use." I felt my chest tighten. "This lake isn't a shared space," I said firmly. "It's not even part of the HOA's land. It's on my deed. I pay taxes for it." Her smile faded into that familiar glare she reserved for people who didn't bow down to her. "You can't just keep this lake to yourself," she snapped. "You're part of this community. This lake should be for everyone." I'd dealt with her before. Her endless complaints about my fence color. Her attempts to fine me for having a fishing shed too close to the property line. Her obsession with control. But this was the final straw. I walked back to my truck, started it, and drove it across the gravel path leading to the lake entrance. I parked it sideways, blocking the entire way. Her guests stopped mid-step, confused. Karen's face turned red. "You can't do that," she screamed. "You're blocking community access." "Community access?" I said, trying not to laugh. "Show me where it says that in your HOA rule book." She pulled out her phone, scrolling through PDFs like she could summon evidence from thin air. Her guests just stood there awkwardly, shifting their coolers and avoiding eye contact. Finally, one of them said, "Karen, maybe we should just go somewhere else." But Karen wasn't about to back down. "I'll have you fined for this," she said. "You can't treat your neighbors this way. I'm calling the HOA right now." "Go ahead," I said. "But until someone shows me proof that this lake isn't mine, nobody touches the water." She stomped away, muttering something about selfishness and community spirit. I just shook my head and went back to fishing, trying to reclaim what little peace was left of my morning. A few days later, the real trouble began. I opened my mailbox to find a letter with the HOA logo on it. A formal notice demanding that I cease obstructing access to community property. It was signed, of course, by Karen herself. My jaw clenched. I tried to handle it calmly, but this was over the line. She had not only ignored my warnings, she had now turned the entire HOA against me. So I gathered every piece of paper I could find, the property deed, tax records, the official county map, and drove straight to the county records office. Within an hour, I had a notarized statement confirming that the entire lake, every inch of it, was part of my land. I made copies, sealed them in envelopes, and sent one to each member of the HOA board. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was Greg, the HOA president, and like Karen, he was calm, reasonable. "Hey," he said, "we reviewed your documents. You're right. The lake isn't HOA property, Karen." "Well," she overstepped her authority. Again? I asked. He sighed. "You're not the first neighbor she's clashed with. She's been warned before. I thanked him for his honesty and thought maybe, finally, it was over. I could go back to enjoying my quiet mornings on the dock. But peace doesn't come easy when Karen's involved. That weekend, I woke up to the sound of shouting. When I stepped outside, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Karen was back, standing at the edge of the lake, phone in hand, recording herself on Facebook Live. This man thinks he can steal what belongs to the whole neighborhood. She yelled into her phone. He's blocking a community lake and the HOA refuses to do anything about it. I felt the anger rise, but I took a deep breath. No yelling, no drama, just facts. I walked down to the lake, folder in hand, and stood in front of her camera. You see this? I said calmly. Official county records. My name, my taxes, my property. This lake is privately owned. You're trespassing, Karen. For a second, she froze. The neighbors who had gathered around to watch went silent. Then someone in the back laughed quietly. Another person said, "He's right, Karen." Her face turned pale. She looked around, realizing the crowd wasn't on her side anymore. Slowly, she lowered her phone, muttered something about miscommunication, and stormed off without another word. That was the last time she ever came near the lake. Over the next few weeks, something unexpected happened. Neighbors who had avoided me before started stopping by. Some apologized for believing Karen's stories. Others offered to help clean up the lakefront. One older man told me, "You did what the rest of us were too scared to do. You stood up to her." I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because I was tired of being bullied. I was tired of people like her thinking they could walk over others just because they were loud and demanding. And as I sat on my dock one evening, watching the sunset over the calm water, I realized something important. Standing up for yourself isn't always about anger or revenge. Sometimes it's about peace, the kind you earn by protecting what's yours. People like Karen thrive on control. They push boundaries, test limits, and feed off fear. But the moment you stop giving them that power, they crumble. Because the truth doesn't need to shout, it simply stands firm. That night, I thought about everything that had happened. The noise, the fights, the letters, the drama. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I'd learned that peace isn't something people give you. It's something you protect. Even if you have to fight for it, sometimes. Life puts you face to face with people who test your patience, your kindness, and your limits. But when you stand your ground, calmly, respectfully, and firmly, you send a message that echoes louder than any argument. The lake was mine. But more importantly, so was my peace. Days turned into weeks, and word spread through the neighborhood. Karen had officially been removed from the HOA board. Greg told me she tried to file another complaint, but the board voted unanimously to revoke her privileges. It was poetic justice. One evening, as I was fishing alone again, Greg walked up to me. "Mind if I join?" he asked. I smiled. "Sure, long as you brought your own bait." He laughed, sitting down beside me. "You know," he said, "when I joined the HOA, I thought it was about keeping things organized. I never realized how much damage one person's ego could cause." "Yeah," I said. "Control's a funny thing. Some people don't want peace. They want power." We sat there in silence for a while, watching the last light fade over the lake. And for the first time in months, I felt a genuine calm settle in. No noise, no drama, just quiet water and the sound of a line hitting the surface. That's when I realized something deeper. This wasn't just about property or ownership. It was about knowing when to fight and when to let go. About protecting not just what's written on paper, but what gives you peace of mind. Karen had screamed community property like it was a battle cry. But I learned that community doesn't mean letting people take advantage of you. It means respect for boundaries, for truth, and for each other. And if someone doesn't understand that, then maybe they don't deserve to be part of your peace at all. Now, when I look at that lake, I don't just see water. I see a reminder that sometimes you have to stand up, not because you want to fight, but because you refuse to be walked over. And when you do, when you finally claim what's yours without fear, you'll find that the quiet that follows is worth every second of the storm. This has been another story from Silent Stories Updates, where truth meets courage. And every ending leaves a message behind. If you've ever faced someone who tried to take what was yours, remember this story. Stay kind, stay calm, but never, ever let anyone steal your peace.